So I found out my girlfriend of 3 years has been secretly texting her ex. The same ex her best friend told me was the only guy she ever truly lit up for. And now I'm sitting here with an engagement ring I can't return and a girlfriend who's moved into our spare bedroom while she figures things out. My life. I, 29 male, was planning to propose to Megan, 28, next month at Lake Tahoe. Had the whole thing planned out, photographer hidden in the trees, sunset backdrop, the works. I even dropped 3 grand on a ring she once pointed out in a magazine. I thought we were solid. We met at a buddy's Super Bowl party 3 years ago. I was the guy who brought homemade guacamole that everyone pretended to like, and she was the friend of a friend who actually asked for the recipe. We exchanged numbers, got coffee the next week, and somehow never stopped seeing each other. The relationship moved pretty quickly. She moved into my place after 8 months because her lease was up, and it just made sense financially. Looking back, that should have been my first clue. Megan and I have a decent life together in Denver. I work in software sales, she's in marketing. We have a condo with a view of absolutely nothing, a Netflix account we share with her sister, and a routine that involves takeout Thai on Fridays and brunch with friends on Sundays. Normal couple stuff. We rarely fight, mainly because whenever conflict starts brewing, Megan conveniently remembers an errand or decides she needs a nap. I used to think that meant we were compatible. Now I'm not so sure. Anyway, last weekend we had this cookout at our place. Nothing fancy, just the usual crew drinking beer on our crappy apartment balcony and arguing about the Broncos' chances this season. As people were leaving, I ended up alone in the kitchen with Eric, Megan's best friend since college. I've always gotten along with Eric. He's gay, been with his partner forever, and doesn't bullshit people. Maybe that's why, with a few Coors in me, I decided to tell him about my proposal plans. I expected him to be excited. Instead, he looked like I'd just told him I had terminal cancer. After some awkward silence, he just said good luck with that, in a tone that made my stomach drop. When I pressed him, he tried to backpedal, saying he liked me and thought I was good for Megan. But I kept pushing, and that's when the floodgates opened. According to Eric, Megan has a pattern. She hasn't been single for more than a few months since high school. She uses relationships for stability rather than love. She's emotionally distant with boyfriends, but super dependent on him. Worst of all, he said in the 8 years he's known her, he's only seen her truly excited about one guy, some dude named Jake from her grad program. I'd heard about Jake before. Megan mentioned him occasionally, always saying it was nothing serious. But looking back, she brought him up more than other exes, and with weird specific details about things they did or talked about years ago. Like this one time, she spent 10 minutes telling me about some inside joke they had about penguins at the Denver Zoo. Meanwhile, she can barely remember what we did for our first anniversary. The most gut-wrenching part was when Eric told me that during my first year with Megan, she used to show up at his apartment after our minor disagreements. Disagreements so small I didn't even register them as fights. Apparently, she'd sleep on his couch, vent about me, and seek emotional support from him that she never sought from me. This only stopped when Eric's boyfriend moved in and he established boundaries with her. With me, Megan has always been pretty independent. If we disagree about something, she needs space and goes for long drives or retreats to our bedroom alone. Finding out she was running to Eric after these moments felt like a punch to the gut. "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked him. He sighed and said, "Because I care about both of you and marriage is forever." Eric left shortly after that, and I spent the rest of the night in a daze, smiling and nodding as our remaining friends talked about some TV show I couldn't focus on. Megan didn't seem to notice anything was off, which somehow made it worse. That night, I lay awake watching her sleep, wondering how many other things I didn't know about the woman I was planning to propose to. Had I been fooling myself this whole time? For a week after that conversation, I watched our relationship with new eyes. I noticed how she deflected whenever conversations got too personal. How she angled her phone away when texting. How she gave vague answers about her day. These weren't new behaviors, I'd just been making excuses for them all this time. I started thinking about her dating history, what little I knew of it. There was David before me, who she lived with for almost 2 years before abruptly moving out when he started talking about engagement rings. Before him was Tyler, who she dated through most of college until he got a job offer in Seattle, and she refused to even consider long distance. And sandwiched somewhere in there was Jake, the mysterious grad school guy who apparently made her face light up like no one else. Megan never talked much about why any of these relationships ended. She'd just say things like we wanted different things, or the timing wasn't right. Generic breakup phrases that tell you absolutely nothing. I used to appreciate that she didn't badmouth her exes. Now I wondered if she was just avoiding deeper conversations about her relationship patterns. Then came the morning I woke up at 5:30 a.m. to find her not in bed. I found her in our living room, intensely focused on her phone. When she saw me, she quickly put it down and made some excuse about not being able to sleep. Something felt off, so while she was in the shower, I did what I never thought I'd do. I checked her phone. There it was. A text conversation with Jake, the Jake going back over a month. They'd been texting almost daily. He was moving back to Denver the following week, and they were making plans to meet up. Nothing explicitly romantic, but there was an energy to the conversation that was unmistakable. "Can't wait to see you again, it's been too long," he wrote. She replied with heart emojis. What really got me was how different she seemed in these texts compared to how she is with me. There were inside jokes, deep conversations about books and movies, even some vulnerable sharing about her parents' divorce that she's barely discussed with me in 3 years. With him, she was engaged, enthusiastic, sending multiple texts in a row. With me, she's the queen of K and sounds good. When she got out of the shower, I was sitting there with her phone. I didn't yell or flip out. I just asked her about Jake. She tried to play it off as innocent catching up with an old friend, but her face told a different story. When I kept pushing, the truth came out. Jake had reached out after accepting a job in Denver. They'd been texting almost every day since. She admitted she still wondered, what if sometimes, though she swore nothing physical had happened. I just asked her straight up, are you with me because you love me or because you're comfortable? The way she hesitated before answering told me everything I needed to know. That's when everything spilled out. She told me their relationship in grad school was brief but intense. They dated for only 4 months before he got a job opportunity in California that he couldn't pass up. She didn't want to do long distance, so they broke up. According to her, she's thought about him on and off over the years, wondering if she made the right choice. But I do love you, she insisted. Jake is just an unfinished business. Unfinished business. Like I'm some Netflix show she's watching while waiting for her favorite series to drop a new season. The next few days were a blur. We had these endless, exhausting conversations that went in circles. She'd cry and say she was confused. I'd swing between anger and this pathetic desperation to make her choose me. We finally agreed she should move into the spare room while we figured things out. That was 2 weeks ago. Look, I'm not claiming to be perfect. I'm sure I've been emotionally unavailable at times too. But I've been all in with this relationship. I've been saving for our future, planning trips together, imagining what our kids might look like someday. I introduced her to my family at Christmas last year, bought her mom flowers on Mother's Day, and learned to make her grandmother's banana bread recipe just to see her smile. Meanwhile, she's been keeping one foot out the door the whole time. She's started therapy now, supposedly to work through her relationship patterns. I'm seeing a counselor too, mostly to figure out how I was so blind. The engagement ring sits in my sock drawer like some kind of sick joke. My buddy Tom says I should return it and use the money for a solo trip to Thailand. Maybe he's right. Yesterday, Megan told me she's meeting Jake for coffee this weekend for closure. She asked if I was okay with it, like that's a normal thing to ask your boyfriend of 3 years. I said yes because what the hell else am I supposed to say? If I say no, I'm the controlling asshole. If I say yes, I'm the doormat. Can't wins. Truth is, I'm fucking exhausted. I keep replaying every moment of our relationship, wondering how I missed the signs. Was I just seeing what I wanted to see all this time? Eric basically confirmed that Megan has never been emotionally available to me the way she was with Jake. And now Jake is back in the picture, and I'm supposed to just wait around while she decides if I'm worth keeping around. The worst part isn't even the possibility of losing her. It's realizing that even when we were physically close, she was always holding part of herself back. 3 years and I never really had all of her. I keep thinking about all those nights we spent on the couch, her scrolling through Instagram while I thought we were having a quiet moment together. All those times she'd say, "I'm fine," when she clearly wasn't. I mistook her independence for strength when really, she was just keeping me at arm's length. Part of me wishes Eric had never said anything. Maybe ignorance really is bliss. But another part knows he did me a solid. Better to find out now than after I put a ring on her finger. I still love her. Pathetic, right? But I'm also starting to understand that love isn't enough when the other person has one foot out the door. And as much as this limbo sucks, I'd rather know the truth than live in a fantasy. I have this recurring thought: even if she decides to stay with me, how will I ever trust that she's not settling? That I'm not just her safe choice while she secretly pines for someone else. Some days I think we might be able to rebuild with honesty as our foundation. Other days, the thought of being someone's consolation prize makes me want to pack my bags and disappear. So that's where I'm at. Waiting for my girlfriend to have coffee with her ex, while I sit here wondering if our entire relationship has been a lie. AITA for checking her phone and confronting her. Or was I right to finally face the truth?